Good evening, Ranger Painters. If it's Monday, it's Morphin time. Welcome to Crotone Entertainment. I'm Chris, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different in honor of my new camera setup, which is a little more secure and hopefully can make painting on it a little more easy so I don't have to do as many jump transitions. We're going to do a different style of video today. We're going to be jumping in, and with these 4 colors in front of us, well, really 5, we're going to be painting this putty. More importantly, we're going to be doing it in under 10 minutes. That's right, we're going to be doing it with no cuts. We're going to be tackling the putty foot soldiers in under 10 minutes. On one video here, we're going to run through the entire process. I'm not going to speed anything up. I'm not going to blur anything out. There is one asterisk to painting him in 10 minutes. I am going to make drying time go away. You'll see how we're going to do that in just a minute. But this is going to be a 5-color putty. It's designed to anybody can paint these guys. So let's get started. We're going to take them out. We're going to prime them. Any medium gray primer will do just fine. I choose one from the Rust-Oleum. It's kind of a mid-tone gray. Anything you like will work, though. It's where our basilicum gray is going to go over. So we're going to hit the putty for good measure there. I'm sure he deserved it. He's kind of a jerk. And what we're going to do is we're going to open this up, and I'm not even going to bother watering this down. I'm just going to go straight out of the pot. I'm going to apply the basilicum gray all over the gloves, and I'm going to apply it all over this putty's face. So we're going to go ahead and get that done. It's going to take us just a minute. This will give us those darkened hands. The gray mid-tone is going to let the gray color come out on the top because the contrast is designed to flow into the grooves. It works pretty well. You can see we're putting it on pretty thick. So like I said, we're doing 5 colors here. We got the Citadel Basilicum Gray, the Citadel Known Oil in the background there, the Citadel Mephiston, and the Citadel Abaddon Black. And the 5th color that I mentioned was that primer color, which in my case was a Rust-Oleum 2X, just one of the gray tones. Anything can work. So why are we doing this? We just want to pound out these foot soldiers. We don't want these guys sitting on our painting desk for a long time. The core box of the game comes with, I think, 18 of these guys. Might be 12. The Kickstarter box comes with another handful. And for those of you who got your hands on the Foot Soldier box, I don't know if they're in there or not. I didn't get the Foot Soldier box. But the point is, anytime you can paint a Foot Soldier nice and quick, that's more time we can spend painting the Rangers. That's more time we can spend painting the monsters. And that's more time we can spend enjoying playing the game. So when our Basilicum Gray is done, we're going to let that dry. That's going to take a couple minutes for you. It's going to take no time at all for me because through the magic of the pre-setup work I've done here, we already have one where the Basilicum Gray is dry. So our next step is going to be a step forward and do a wash all over the mini. We're going to use the Citadel Shade Known Oil. They make 2 versions of this. They make the shade, they make the gloss. I specifically went with the shade because I didn't really want a shiny putty. So we're just going to take this, and much like the Basilicum Gray, we're just going to go ahead and coat this on fairly heavily. We're not even going to bother watering it down. And this is going to go over almost the entire model. So we're going to hit the legs here. In a second, you'll see we're going to hit the torso. What I'm going to avoid is I'm going to avoid the belt. Now, I know the belt on these guys is not normally a drastically different color, but I didn't want to deal with having the belt be the exact same color. Instead, it's kind of a nice area on the midpoint of the body that by not shading it with this black, it's going to leave a pop of color on the mini. It's still going to be a gray color, so it's going to blend in. But it's going to create a pop of color that kind of differentiates the model a little bit and brings out a little bit more detail. But otherwise, we're not going to be particularly careful in this stage. You can see some of it getting over on the base. We're going up on the body now. Some of it is flowing right down into those stripes or whatever you would call those on the putty. And we're going right over the hands too. And this is just going to darken everything up. It's going to flow to the deepest recesses. It's going to slightly darken the mid-tone of gray. Overall, it's going to give us some definition on this model so we don't have to go through the effort of highlighting up to show the different musculature. We don't even have to waste our time dry brushing. We're just going to use this wash and we're going to call it a day. So it's going to take just a second more to get that done. You can see we're a couple of minutes in. We're already a good chunk through painting this putty. Got a little on the belt there. It comes off with the finger quite nicely, at least at this stage if you get it while it's dry. Or get it while it's wet, I'm sorry. So we're just about done with this next step of the putty, so we start thinking about what comes next, and all putties really have, definition-wise, other than being gray, is kind of that streak of black on their torso, and they have their red eyes most of the time. So we're going to let our model down, we're going to give it a couple minutes to dry, Again, I've had a pre-setup here where I already went ahead and prepped a putty in every stage here. So this is a putty that's had the black wash on it, which is now dry. It's got the basilicon gray, and we're going to move on to doing its eyes with this Mephiston red. It's going to be real easy. We're just going to take a fine tip brush. We're just going to very carefully draw this right into the eye. It's not going to be fancy. We're not going to go for shading. It's basically just going to be a line of red, as you'll see here in just a second. So while we put that on, the way you can kind of replicate this 10-minute paint job is by batch painting these guys. So you want to take a handful, 5, 6, maybe 10, maybe all of your putties at one time, and prime them all at once. Do the basilicum gray on all of them at once. Do the Nuln Oil on all of them at once. If you're doing every single putty you own, by the time you get to the last putty, the first putty should be dry by the time you're done to jump into the next step. And you see that took us to do the red just a handful of seconds. We got a little red there. It pops a little bit better. My lighting is not great. I'm still working on that aspect of these videos, so I apologize that it's not popping as well as it could right here. But the last step is going to be to go ahead and get into those black stripes, and it's going to be get onto the base of the miniature. So pulling that guy out, we'll pull in the next putty who already has his eyes painted red, and we're ready to go into the next step, which is, of course, that Citadel base Abaddon black. So we're going to grab that, and we're going to blaspheme on this as well. We're really not going to thin it down. Simple way to thin it down if you want to paint out of the pot is dip your paintbrush in a little bit of water, then dip the brush into the pot, or actually take paint out of the pot, put it on a palette, add water to it. Normally I would do that for figures with more definition that we're worried about. There's not a lot of detail on these putties. The washes bring it out just fine. As you can see on the black, we're dealing with these 4 stripes on his sides. And then he's got 2 stripes over his shoulders that we're going to deal with as well. But we just take our fine paintbrush and we just kind of very carefully draw a line of black in there. We're not worried if we go over a little bit. We're not worried if we don't 100% fill up the stripe. It's going to look good as long as you get most of the stripe filled in with black. It's just going to add this little pop of definition to it here. So we've got the ones on the left side, front and back. Turn the model over. We'll go to the right-hand side, get them front and back, just like that. This is real easy, real relaxing way to paint some minis and say, hey, I got a lot of minis done today. Now we're going to go over the shoulder. Start with the right, go to the left, and notice I'm doing the back instead of front. This is just a very, very minor time-saving trick if you're just trying to paint fairly quickly. The fewer times I have to turn the model over, the better. I mean, the less I have to do that, the more models I can get painted in a single day. And again, these are foot soldiers. We want to get them done. So we got the black stripes on there. That only leaves the base. This one I am going to dip my paintbrush in some water for. It's going to be the same technique I've used on other Rangers and on the monsters. I'm going to get a nice wet brush. I'm going to dip that into the paint. You'll notice I switched to a bigger brush than what I was using before. And I'm just going to very, very sloppily just coat that all over the base. If you get enough water on your brush before you do this step, you can be pretty sloppy and leave kind of big globs of paint there. And when they dry, they'll still look pretty uniform. If you don't get enough water on your brush when you do this step, you're going to wind up in a situation where when it dries, you may see more paint than another on any given spot. If that doesn't bother you, just go ahead and go for it. We're trying to create a quick paint, get these models done, get them on the table, get them fighting some Rangers, and foot soldiers are going to come off the table so fast and so regularly. Of course, they're going to go back on the table so fast and so regularly that we want to make them look good, but we don't need them to look perfect. That's not really what we're going for. So we paint the black ring around the base, set the model up, and there we go. We have a finished putty. Do a little touch up on the base there. Get that black can out of the way. Take a look at this guy. We got a finished putty in under 10 minutes. Pull him out. Let's bring in a dry one so we can get a better look-see here. So this is, again, same thing. I only painted this guy in advance. He took me as long as the rest of them, so there's no secrets, no tricks here. But you see the eyes pop out here. We've got nice definition on the gray. We can see the gloves are a different color. And we basically just have a putty. We're ready to paint this guy. We're ready to go. Get all our putties done. Move on. Play some Heroes of the Grid. In the meantime, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the bell button for notifications. Please leave a comment below. Share this video with your friends so we can spread the word. We want to keep growing the channel, and we can't do it without your help. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.